I'm sure you kids have heard the expression, the baddest hombre west of the Pecos. This is the Pecos.
Travelogues with Bob and Dogs. Travelogues with Bob and Dogs. Travelogues with Bob and Dogs. Travelogues with Bob and Dogs.
If it seems like I'm breathing a little heavy, it's because I'm usually not hiking above 6,000 feet. We came all that way to find the stairway to nowhere. The wind is howling. I hope we can get down. When we started out this little hike, I was wondering how the hell are we going to get up there? But we did. This is kind of a rerun from last year. I'm trying to find new places to stay, but there's only so many ways across Arizona. But it's still nice to be back. Bro, go left. Good boy. I would shoot my sci-fi picture here. Yeah, we don't need to sniff in cracks of rocks. Go. And who among us can forget this shot? Yeah, I'm going. It's a little small for me. My 3-year-old could draw better than this. I'm going to check and see if I used that joke last time. If I did, I'll just cut this out. Before we go on, I want to tell you a couple stories about Arizona. The first one happened at Fool Hollow State Park. I don't have any film because it's a state park next to a reservoir. They kind of all look the same. So, but there's a trail that goes around the reservoir. We were, I think there were 3 other people camping there, and there are like 100 campsites. So we pretty much had the place to ourselves. And we are going around the trail, and we get to a place where there's a dead end because they're reclaiming wildlife or something. So we had to turn around, go back the other way. Darla takes a pretty good poop on the side of the trail. So I stopped to pick it up, and I'm unraveling the bag and all this stuff, when all of a sudden there's a guy with a dog, and he's inside my leash line. I mean, he's inside of 6 feet, and nobody noticed until it was too late. So here's the thing. My dog's bad behavior is my fault. I get that. But I'm working with a trainer, and we work on thresholds. So we try and see what the threshold is of when the dogs will freak out about other people, meaning a certain distance. And whether if it's 20 feet, then we try to get to 15 feet, like that. But this dipshit, I don't know what he was thinking. I would never get within leash range of another person and another dog. Anyway, so he does. The dogs freak out, and there's a little bit of a lip on the edge of the trail because it goes down to the reservoir. The guy trips over that, falls down. His dog is freaking out. So the ranger comes up and says to me, "If you can't control your dogs, you're going to have to leave, sir." And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm leaving anyway. So I get the dogs loaded back into the van after we finish getting back to the van. And he says, "I need you to come up and fill out an incident report at the ranger station." It's like, okay, I'll fill out. So I go up, and the other guy's there, and we're talking. He's a nice guy. He said it was no big deal. My dog used to do that all the time. And he writes on his incident report, "Fell off the trail because of dogs." That was all he put. So I fill out the incident report, and it's like, "You have a nice park here. See you later." And then this woman ranger comes up, different from the guy who told me to fill out the incident report, and it says, "We have a report that there's a lot of dog fur at your campsite." And I'm like, "There's what?" And she said, "Yeah, there's a lot of dog fur. Could you please go clean that up?" And I was like, okay. We hadn't been out in the campsite at all. We just did the trail around the reservoir. So I drove back to the campsite, and it's like, I don't know, it's almost a 10-minute ride. So I get to the campsite, and I look around, and beyond the fire ring is a whole bunch of white dog fur, like somebody had combed out a husky or something. And I could have been a nice guy and picked it up, but it was all tangled in the grass, and I'm not going to crawl around on my hands and knees to pick up somebody else's dog fur. So I drove, and if I had a rake, I might have done it, but who carries a rake in one of these things? So I drove back to the ranger station. I could have just left, but I didn't. I went back to the ranger station, and I said, sure enough, beyond the fire ring, I found the dog fur you were talking about. It was all white. I have a black dog and a brown dog. It did not belong to my dogs. If I had had a rake, I would have picked it up, but I don't travel with one, so it's not my problem. And she looked at me like I was out of my mind. But I was in an... Anyway, then the next one happened at Lost Dutchman State Park. Beautiful place, had a lovely night. and walked the dogs in the morning and getting ready to go the next day. I've got the van running. I'm brushing my teeth, and a golf cart pulls up behind me, and this fat guy gets out, and he does that sort of cop walk up to the passenger side, and the dogs are freaking out. So I get out and I go around to see what he's looking for, and he's got like the vest and the utility belt and the big hat and the sunglasses. And I said, "What can I help you with?" And he said, "Just reminding you what time it is." So every state is different, but in Arizona, check-in is 2 o'clock, check-out is 12 o'clock. So I get in and look at the clock. It's 11:30. This guy's roasting me at 11:30 to get out of his park. And as he's walking away, I look, and the back of his vest is embroidered "volunteer." So I don't know what any of this says. But other than that, I liked Arizona. Back to the film. There's a border crossing into California. I had forgotten that.